A true and faithful relationship would pass for many years between Dr. John Dee and some spirits. 1659, Meric Casaubon. We are continuing Saturday, October 6th. Okay, where did we stop? I'm not sure, but anyways. Nunc vero quod deseridum titulo philosophiae eo mathematicae Caesari insignire causa es multiplex tum respectu secret mai servitli erga Caesarem sub eo pratexu calende quam majoris authoritates eo febris apud Caesarianas eo Anglas meas nivel eris hic nugas agere verier eo nullius esse estimationis vera istis etiam videre aptas contra quem suam invidiam eo maledicentissimum ut inseper exequerent linguam impune etc. orabat egetur de curtium ut Caesariam suam majestam admoneret de indebita interpretation elorum verborum quibus vitia ejus redar quibantur, etc. Then he spake of the second letters to the emperor, the elect, whereof he had heard at my hands, and had sent on Michaelmas even to the emperor's majesty a note and advice of them, as he now said, and did wish that they had been delivered before the emperor had resolved on the former answer. Those letters, said I, are in the ambassadors of Spain's hands, and if he will not deliver them today, I will fetch them for you. If you do, said he, I will deliver them straightway, for at the 8 of the clock you shall have me in the Ritter's stove, are here of me there. Then, said I will straightway go to the ambassador. I went unto the ambassador of Spain, and reported all that had passed between me and Dr. Kurtz. He said that by reasons of his diverse affairs he had not good opportunity, never since the receipt of my letters, to go to the emperor's majesty, but that this day he determined to deliver my letters with his own hand unto his majesty. So with thanks given to his honor I departed. I went to the Ritter's stove, our chamber of presence, where I found none of the guard, but very many fitting without. In the stove were 3 or 4, of which one went straightway into the privy chamber, and by Dr. Kurtz came out from the emperor unto me. I asked him if he had told the emperor of my grief conceived of his misunderstanding my words. He said, I, and that the emperor took it not in evil part, and so of divers other things we had talk, walking up and down together about a quarter of an hour. Among other things, I told him that the Lord Ambassador would deliver my letters himself to the Emperor's Majesty. So I departed, and he returned back to the Emperor into the privy chamber. And, okay, Caesarea to Redargubantur. So, he wants to know what concerns him regarding the emperor, and doesn't want him to distrust in divine mercy, and nobody should distrust in divine mercy. And it wasn't that Dee and such were seeking to be the confessor of the emperor. He was just being told, that there were some mistakes that needed to be addressed. And there's complex reasons. He's definitely on the side of his fellow Englishmen. And there's Secret Service. His mission is a secret service. It's not, a publicized endeavor. And it was a warning against explaining away, the idea that one had sins. Now, gotta have my bookmark. Sunday, October 7th, Main Hora 7, I sent to the Lord Ambassador his house, and there I learned that the Ambassador had yesterday delivered my letter to His Majesty, and that answer was to be expected by Dr. Kurtz. After dinner, I went to Dr. Kurtz's home, his lodging, and he had nothing as yet to say of the letter delivered by the Lord Ambassador, but we fell to other talk, and I told him plainly that I had not hitherto lived obscurely, neither without care of my fame and name, maintaining and increasing. Therefore, if here for my sincere dealing I should seem to be despised, or regarded, or to be but a trifler, my thought I should have great injury. And sure I was that the Emperor's Majesty was much ruled by him, and as he did frame his judgment, so did His Majesty very oft resolve in such matters as mine. Wherefore, if I were not used in my causes, as was responsible for the Emperor's honor, it should not be said to any other man's charge, but to his, and so on. He promised that he would deliver all in the best words he could, in friendly sort, and so on. After this he showed diverse his labors and inventions, mathematical and chiefly arithmetical tables, both for his invention by squares, to have the minute and second of observations astronomical, and so for the mending of Nonius, his invention of the quadrant dividing 90, 91, 92, 93, and so on. I then opened to him my secret of my glass for battering in a dark night, and so on. He said that conclusion would be very acceptable to His Majesty. I told him that the glass was at Cracovia, and His Majesty should see it by God's leave. After this I told him that I would full fain have a passport or safe conduct to pass quietly and safely in any of the Emperor's dominions. He thought His Majesty would willingly grant that, and willed me to write 3 or 4 lines as I would have it, and he informed me thus: Casaream suum majestatem humilim orat Joannes D. Anglas Serenissima Sua Majestatis Devotissimus Servitor ut pro sua majore in itineribus per implicimum sua Caesaria Majestatis Imperium Conficientis Securitate Litteras Salvi Passus Sibi Consider Denator Joannes D. After coming home, I bethought me that I would gladly the said passport, safe conduct, our letters of passage were ample and beneficial. As for my wife, children, family, servants, and goods, whatever, and for 1 whole year to date from the date of these presents, thus, and let me turn real quick to the summary of what's there. Okay, there's a draft. These the devoted servant. He wants a letter of safe passage throughout the empire of the and Wednesday on Monday morning, the 8th of October, Sacram suum Caesarium Majestatem humilium erat serenissima sua Majestatis devotissimus servitor Joannes D. Anglas ut idem Joanne pro Saipso uxor sua liberis suis familia sua servitoribus ancilis suis ego sepellectiliae sua quacunque sua sacra Caesaria majestas favorabilis eo gratio sas suas litteras salve quite eo libre transistas per omnes eo quascumque eplissimi majestatis sua Caesaria imperii partes viasc eo pro integri anne proxim post datum praesentium sequentis tempora quocumque clementer consider dignator anno 1584 October 8th Johannes D. Look at that again. Oh, I already shared the regions and the roads and all that. Well, I didn't translation, but I already gave of that part. Caesarum and Sacrum being the different parts that start. But Monday, October 8th, I went to Mr. Dr. Kurtz with all these last letters, fair written, and I found him to be at the Hofrate Kammer and Council, and so awaiting till they rose half an hour after 8 of the clock, he came out with my letters in his hand, and which I left yesternight with him. I showed him these last written, and he said they used to limit no time, but make them indefinite, so he took the last, and I had the former letters back again. He went with him into the privy chamber. He said I should not need to send for the letters, but he would send them at home by his man, and I went from him toward the ambassador, Don Guglielmo de Sancto Clement, whom I found coming with the ambassador of Spain, who came 3 or 4 days before to give the golden fleece to the emperor, and the marshal of the court to go to the emperor presently to have audience. And as I stood in the court of the ambassador's lodging, and they 3 on horseback coming, the ambassador, my friend, did put off his cap, so did the new ambassador, and marshal twice very courteously. To me, I saw it was no time to offer speech to the ambassador, now of my giving thanks, taking leave, and requiring his pleasure toward the Lord Lasky. So following them to the court, I passed forward home toward my lodging.